Hi, I'm Will from Venture to Rome, and today I'm going to share with you two very important lists. One is my opinion on the best gear of the year so far in 2025, and two is my opinion on the worst. Let's go. Okay, number one is this Ecoflow Delta 3 external battery. I don't know about you, but I'm a little tired of seeing all of the battery reviews on YouTube. To me, I start watching those things and I think they're kind of all the same. And to some extent, that's true. Let me tell you why I like this and why it made my list. So number one, it's a pretty good form factor. So this fits on the floor easily in my passenger seat. It also fits easily on the floor in my back seats, and it fits easily in the back of my Jeep. So I have been able to put this kind of everywhere, and you can kind of see it's a little beat up, like it's kind of marked up. It's got this really nice flat top that I can put stuff on top of. So I have a really big drone that has really big drone batteries, and I will just slap those on top and plug it in, and so that's kind of nice. It charges quickly. A lot of them do this now, but it has this thing that slides down, which at first I didn't like, but then I realized that it slides back in. So it actually is a pretty good dust cover when you're not using it. But it's got two charging ports here for solar, or if you have like an alternator charger. So I like that there's two of these. You can get two things plugged in at the same time when you're on the road, and you can get up to 800 watts of charging coming into this thing, which really helps. There's other ways you can charge it too. It has the AC charger in here, which charges it up at 800 or 900 watts, I think, so it charges pretty fast. On the front, you have a couple of things that I think are really important when it comes to a battery, and a couple of things I'd actually like to see improved, but I'm not gonna ding Ecoflow for this because this is like all of them. All of the batteries need to do a couple things, and I'll tell you about it here in just a second. Okay, so it's got 6 AC ports, 3 of them with ground plugs. It's got 2 fast USBs and then 2 fast USB-Cs. The USB-Cs charge up to 140 watts each. So that's really great, especially if you're charging something that takes a lot of juice. Here's what I wish all battery companies would hear and change. We need more of these, okay? Us overlanders, we need more of these. We need less of these. We need like 2 AC ports and a lot of USBs. If this could have 6 USBs on it, and I would use every single one of them. Anyway, Ecoflow Delta Plus for the win. Okay, next, we're still talking about power. I just mentioned this a second ago, and this is an alternator charger for your external battery from Etaker. Now this charges up to 500 watts. There's different modes that you can put it in. But the cool thing is you can get a big juicy charge off your alternator to recharge your external batteries or anything else that needs it, because they don't use a proprietary plug, which I really love. Some other companies have this same kind of setup, but they use a proprietary plug that can only be plugged into like their batteries. This uses a standard plug, a standard cable, which is, I don't know what these are called. Somebody will tell me what these are called, an Anderson or something, or does it say here? It doesn't really say. Anyway, whatever this is, it's the same thing that you would plug into like a solar panel. You can plug this into your batteries. Almost everything has a receiving end for one of these, and it gives you a really fast charge. I love it. I use it all the time. I'm probably gonna get another one, so I have one in both of my vehicles. Etaker Vehicle Mounted Fast Charging F1000. Okay, the next thing on my list is right here on my phone. It's an app. It's called Onyx Off-Road. Now I know what you're thinking. Everyone's sponsored by Onyx, and it's annoying, and I'm tired of seeing Onyx, and I have to say, I agree with you. Sorry, Onyx, but I'm annoyed too, as someone who watches Overlanding YouTube videos, that every time I turn it on, it's like, Onyx is this, Onyx that, Onyx. We get it. It's a great app. And I love that you're sponsoring me, Onyx, but I just want to empathize with the people watching this that we see a lot of Onyx stuff. However, I'm here to tell you about something new, all right? This is new on Onyx. They have just launched a cell layer. So you will be able to pull open your app, and see where you have cell coverage and where you don't have cell coverage, so you can plan your trip better. You can know when you can download stuff. You can know when you can get like weather reports. That's always really important for me, is to like pull down a weather report. If it's stormy outside, okay, what's the radar showing? Well, now I would know when I would be able to do that easily, instead of like driving around with your hand out the window, hoping to get a signal, or just not knowing, just assuming that you don't have a signal anywhere. So I think that's gonna be really helpful for explorers out there. So thanks, Onyx, for launching that new feature on the app. Okay, people, the next thing I have is from Factor 55, and it's twofold. One, it is their Ultra hook, which is awesome in itself. Like, it's an awesome looking winch hook. It's a flat hook. It's got a recovery point here with a beveled edge, so you can put soft shackles through here and it won't fray the material. It's got this really great hook thing there. It's got pads here so it doesn't scratch your bumper or whatever. So that's good, but it's the combo that I think is the best piece of my gear in my recovery set so far. So this is called the hammer loop, and it's designed to go with this hook. And I have to think they thought of it after King of the Hammers because the name is too coincidental. So here's what you do. You take this thing, you run it through this recovery point here, and then you run this through like you would, kind of a soft shackle, until it bites down on there. So you get a good firm recovery point. And then instead of running your winch line and bringing a soft shackle with you, running that soft shackle through things, blah, 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 you just take this, you run it through whatever you need, and you hook it right there, boom, and you've got your recovery point. So on those days where you know you're gonna be winching a lot, because you're doing a tough trail, or there's that one person who came with you who always gets into trouble and you're gonna be winching them, you can put this on preemptively and have a really easy time running your winch line and getting them or yourself out of trouble. Okay, folks, the next thing is this. No, I do not mean a Starlink Mini, although they are pretty rad pieces of gear. I mean the holder for the Starlink Mini. So this is called a Revolink. And the cool thing about this is it has quick releases on either side. So you just undo these things. You slide this out as much as you can. Here we go. And then you can pop this out really easily. And then when you're ready to put it back in, put it in there, and then you run these things, it tightens down, and you're good to go. And the reason that I like this a lot is because, number one, it's metal. I have had a plastic mount for my Starlink Mini, and it just was disintegrated by the amount of abuse I put my truck through. It has really great mounting points right here that don't get in the way of the satellite. So you can easily put it down there and mount it on a roof rack or something like that, which is how I have it mounted. And the form factor is great. It's pretty low pro. So Revolink Starlink Mini mounting plate. Love this. Okay, speaking of mounting things, this is a game changer. So I hate it when people say that. It's like a drinking game when you watch a YouTuber reviewing gear. They say, this is a game changer, this is a game changer, this is a game changer. If you do that, you get drunk real fast. But this truly is a game changer for me because I take tents on and off my vehicles often because I do rooftop tent reviews on this channel, because I don't like carrying rooftop tents on my vehicles in between trips. So even if I weren't doing reviews, after every trip, I take them off and I store them. They're hoisted from the ceiling. And so this setup from Van Utlra is incredible. It makes putting your tent on and off really, really fast. It's a quick release system, but it's a quick release system that also applies the appropriate amount of tension so there's no shaking. It's super, super tight when it's on. Let me show you how it works. So it has these rubber pads on here, and like this would be the portion that's hanging down from the tent. And it's so simple. You put this section in there, and then you run a pin through it. Okay, you run this pin through it, and it's got a cotter pin in it. You put in there. I'm not gonna do this on camera, of course. Okay, in real life, it's hanging from the tent, so it's a lot easier. And then you just screw it in to tighten it. And you can get it super, super tight, and it's all hand cranked. But these pads put the right amount of pressure. They're angled at just the right angle, so no matter what your bar is, it could be round, it could be flat, it could be wide, it could be narrow, you can get this thing on there, and it cinches down your tent really, really great. And it's super easy to take on and off. So not only has this saved me probably 20 or 30 minutes per time I'm taking my tent on and off, but it saved my knuckles and my wrists and my forearms because I'm constantly like reaching way under, trying to crank something or with a wrench, and I'm getting bruised by the rack, or my knuckles are getting scraped on the bottom of the, of the roof of the Jeep or whatever. And this has just simplified that process a ton. So thank you, Van Utlra, for making this. I use it so much, and I'm glad this exists in the world because it's a really high quality product that does everything it says it will. Okay, next I want to talk first aid for a sec. So I always have a first aid kit on these things, but I came across this company that I'm really excited about. It's an Idaho company. It was started by paramedics, and they're partnering with a channel sponsor, Case Suspension, that is the only people I will let touch my Jeeps in this area. So it's a fantastic shop. They're also selling these first aid kits, and this thing is fantastic. So it's super high quality stuff that's in here. They really think about what could happen to you when you're out on the trail. So they have everything from like an inflatable neck brace to SAM splints, all kinds of things that are in here. This is clearly well thought out, well organized, probably the best first aid kit that I've seen out there. And bonus, it's a USA company. Even more bonus, it's an Idaho company. First Action Rescue. The next thing is in this little purple bag. No, it is not Crown Royal, but yes, it is from Canada. This is made by my good friends over at Epic Adventure Outfitters. And as you may know, they're the ones who have installed both of my suspensions on both of my Jeeps. They have made the Kraken air inflation system that I have on both of my Jeeps. They have made the Epic Crow molly panel, overhead molly panel that I have on both of my Jeeps. And now they've come out with what they're calling the Wizard, which is a real problem for some people. This is a power distribution block for all of the crap that you plug into your battery. So this is made of high quality metals. It's designed to take a bunch of stuff and distribute all of those things that you have running into your battery. So I don't know about you, but sometimes when I open up my hood, it looks like an unkept room. It's like, it made sense at the time when I put those wires in there for whatever, and now it just looks like a total mess. I've had strange shorts happening in my Jeep where things would just kind of turn on, turn off. I've had, grounding issues. All that has happened because I didn't have a system like this. And what I love about Epic is that they're looking at these problems that are common problems that don't have a great solution. And this is just another really ingenious yet simple solution for a common problem, which is directing your electronics into your battery in a organized way that will not fail you on the trail. Okay, my next thing is from CMM OffRoad, and they make a really cool flush mounted accessory mount for anybody who has a JK, a JT, or a JL. For those of you who don't speak Jeep, those are different kinds of Jeeps. But there's this little place that I didn't even know about that's kind of down on the center console by your knee. And there is a circle about that size that you pop out. There's a bolt in there you take out. You replace it with their bolt. This goes in so it sits flush. And then you're able to attach this thing to it. And from there, you can do any sort of thing. So they have ball mounts if you want to put your CV mic down there. I've seen people mount firearms from there, so it's kind of right there, by your knee. And I love that it's high quality metal that they use. And it's ingenious that they found this little spot and they were like, hey, I wonder if we can make something that goes there and is totally flush and custom. So CMM OffRoad accessory mounting system is really cool. Okay, the last thing that I have on my list this year so far is maybe my favorite. It's the Power Switch by Garmin. So Garmin, as you know, makes the InReach Mini. They make all kinds of watches. They make lots of stuff. They make the Overlander. They make, blah, blah, blah. But I think their most overlooked product is the Power Switch. It is a switch bank that you install under your hood that you run your accessories to, and it communicates Bluetooth with your phone. So your phone becomes your switch bank, and it's got a couple things that I think are incredible. One, you don't have to install anything or attach anything to your dash. Like I already have a phone holder. So all I do is turn that in or put that on, turn on my phone, which is always on anyway when I'm out navigating or off-road. I open up the Power Switch app and there are all of my lights and anything else I have run to that switch bank. And so that's number one. I think it's so awesome that you don't have to install anything in your dash. It's just totally Bluetooth under your hood. The second thing that they do that I love is that they have really easily programmable custom switches. So they have one interface where you see all the switches, all of them. They have this other custom tab where you can add groups of things together. So for me, I have like all the lights on my bumper programmed into one custom switch. So I know I can just hit that and I have really great spread on the road in front of me. If I want to make things super crazy, I'll turn on, the lights that are on my rack above me, but I can do that separately. I have one also that's just all the ambers, so I can turn all the ambers on none of the clears on. And it just gives you this ability to have a bunch of different ways to use your lights or your accessories. I'm just using lights as an example. That use your accessories that I never had before, or if I saw the option to do that, it was really complicated. So it's like a swipe over on your phone and you program things in really easily. And then when you're on the trail and you just want your ambers on, you just go custom ambers, on off. It's so cool. So Garmin power switch, totally overlooked, I think, in the switch world. And until something beats that product, I'm gonna have that in all my vehicles. Okay, that was my list, all the things that I love. Let me tell you the things that I hate. Now, before I say the things that I hate, I'm gonna give you this disclaimer. I do not have a grid, a data-driven reason for not liking this stuff. So it's not the quality of the product sometimes or the thing that I'm talking about. It's maybe just my opinion on whether or not I like them in general or use them. So take all this with a grain of salt, but I wanna start actually getting real with some of the stuff that I don't like or I don't use very often or whatever. So let me start by putting a shot across the bow of Devos Lights. You're on my list. First of all, Devos, you make the best camping light that's out there. It's an incredible camping light. This thing, it puts out more light than anything I've ever seen. I've used it at camp, especially in the winter, and this one has amber and clear and orange. Wait, amber, red, and clear. It can be bright. You can adjust the brightness as it's too bright, you can dim it down. It's got this massive stand. You can get it up like 9 or 10 feet in the air. So it's in terms of the product, it's a really, really great product. But here's why it's on my list. Because when you're camping, you don't need to light your campsite up like you're in prison. It's not a prison yard, it's a campsite. Light a fire, that's your camp light. You don't need to have everything lit up and see everything that's out there. In fact, I think it kind of goes against what camping is all about. You should be out there and you should have the fire, the people who are around the fire with you, and the stars. That's my opinion on what camping should be. And if you're scared of what might be in the dark, you can bring personal protection. Just make sure you're very clear on what the target is before you pull the trigger on whatever that might be, even bear spray. But even though this is a fantastic product, I have to say, I don't think we should be out there lighting up the night with all of these lights. I think we should enjoy the dark when we're camping. All right, next on my list for overlanders, especially who have rooftop tents, is the Rhino Rack Pioneer platform. This is on the list of things that you should not buy if you're running a rooftop tent. Absolutely do not buy this product. It is a fantastic product, but it is not made for rooftop tents. I have been running the Pioneer platform on the Rhino Rack backbone system. I've been running that for years, and I've had so many tents on and off that platform, and it kills me every time to get a tent on that thing. It is not made for it, and they don't care. They don't want you to put tents on it. They do not design it for tents. The Pioneer platform is designed for other things. It's designed for putting fuel up there or cargo or whatever, and it's a fantastic product for that. But if you want to put a rooftop tent on top of your vehicle, get the Rhino Rack Recon crossbars. I just recently switched out. I can't believe it took me 5 years to switch to those things. Number one, they're a lot lighter, so you're saving weight. Number two, they stand up just a little bit higher off of your roof, so you can actually reach under there and get your rooftop tent on and off. And number three, they're really, really strong. So I went from the Pioneer platform to the Recon bars on my Jeep 392, and I couldn't be happier. It is so much easier to get my tent on and off. It's lighter up there, so I've lowered my center of gravity somewhat, and it's just the way to go. So do not buy the Pioneer platform if you have a rooftop tent. Okay, next. This isn't a piece of gear, but it's definitely gear related, and I'm beginning to think it's the worst. And that is going to these massive expos that are about overland gear, where there are thousands and thousands of people crushed into a space. If you're camping there, you're you can smell your neighbor's farts because they're so close to you. It is not overlanding, it is not camping. There is good community that happens as a result of being there, which I think is cool. But in general, if you're gonna go to an event, really be specific about what you want out of that event. If it's a big gear-focused event, then have a plan. Go see the gear that you can't see otherwise, and then get out of there. If you want to camp, it's gonna stink. I mean, there's long lines for the bathroom. It's hard to get a shower in. I mean, it's not overlanding. That's not even close. Find a smaller event. There's an event that I'm doing this summer, June 19th through the 22nd, called the Range to Ranch Retreat. And it is capped at 200 people. So there's not gonna be any more than 200 people. There will be vendors there, but the event is designed to meet the community, to share what we know with each other, to go on trail runs during the day, to have live music and stuff at night. And it's a much more, I don't know, curated experience that's a lot closer to what overlanding is. The spaces that they choose for these things are generally in a beautiful kind of overlanding style place. This is gonna be out at a ranch in the valley, the feet of the Lost River Range, which is Idaho's tallest mountains. I mean, it's an absolutely spectacular location. And so instead of going to one of these massive overland expos, find something that's close to you. And if you're in the Pacific Northwest, consider coming to Idaho for the Range to Ranch retreat. I'm gonna be there, and I think it's gonna be really cool. Okay, the last thing that's on my worst list is this. This is a Starlink Mini, and I love this thing. But you know what happens? You know what happens? I get to camp, I plug it in, I have internet, and I turn my phone on. I start scrolling on Facebook. What the heck? These are dangerous. These give you an out. They give you a way to not be connected to the outdoors, to not really kind of let go of the grid of the ordinary world. And I don't think they're super healthy. They're fantastic for emergency communications. They're fantastic for, like I get to FaceTime my kids if I'm out on my own someplace. Like that's great. And they're amazing products for that. But they're on my list of the worst gear because I think they bring out the worst in people when we go camping. I know, like, you know, me and my friends were out camping this winter and they streamed the Mike Tyson fight. Like, you know, we should have been doing something else. Anyway, that's my pet peeve on what these things do to us when we're camping. I think one of the reasons that you go out is to get off grid, is to get away from things, is to connect better with the nature around you. And this, I think, gets in the way of that. So that's it, folks. That's my best and worst list of 2025 so far. I hope you found this helpful. Until next time, I'm Will from Venture to Roam. Thanks for watching.